Now, President Akufo-Addo has directed the Ministry of Education to reverse its decision to dismiss 8 female students of Chiana Senior High School. The students in a viral video were seen hurling insults at the president. According to the Ministry of Education, the president says an alternative punishment should be considered other than dismissal. This was contained in a statement from the Education Ministry, and I'll share extracts of that with you. It says the President of the Republic of Ghana, Akufo-Addo, has intervened in the above subject after his attention was drawn to it. Consequently, the Minister for Education, Dr. Educhum, has directed the Ghana Education Service to consider an alternative disciplinary action instead of dismissal, and is signed by the spokesperson of the Ministry of Education, Kwesi Kwarteng. Now, the Ministry of Education says it fully supports the decision by the GES to dismiss the students. They believe that the students breached the code of conduct and the decision to dismiss them was deterrent enough. Speaking on the AM show a while ago, spokesperson for the ministry, Kwesi Kwarteng, said GES will put out a statement on the way forward following the intervention by the president.
I mean, this penalty may be prescribed to you. If you look at the process that led to arriving this sanction. Initially, the students were called together with their parents. A disciplinary committee was set up. I mean, you people who may have the background in law in terms of the principles of natural justice was strictly adhered to, because they were heard.
Students were heard.
They were heard. After that, a decision was arrived, and then it was escalated to the governing board, or the governing body of the school, which, of course, if you look at the governing body, for instance, you may be talking about the PTA themselves, which is the parents, teachers, their representation, the RSRC, of course, some leadership, especially within the jurisdiction or within the community, also serve on the board. So they also okayed the decision of the disciplinary committee. Then it was escalated to the district education level for their opinion. They also agreed with it, regional level, national level. At the national level, that is when the GES Council, which is the highest decision-making body, or the apex body of the Ghana Education Service, also sat on it and approved the sanctions that was meted out to them. But of course, I mean, this morning, the president had to intervene. And for him, he believed that ultimately, even though he believes that when somebody commits an offense or commits a wrong or such misconduct, the person ought to be punished, he more or less aligns himself with the supreme interest at the end of the day, which happens to be the children's education. And so he feels that there have to be some level of mitigation. We need to reconsider the decision. And so consequently, the Minister for Education, Dr. Aisha Ibrahim, has also directed that the Ghana Education Service, which made this decision, needs to review the decision that was made. So our expectation is that by close of the Ghana Education Service will review the decision and communicate same to the students affected, or the students involved, let me put it in that context, and then also communicate same to the public.
So, psychologist with the Psychiatric Association of Ghana, Dr. Rufus Owusu entry says punishment should be reformative and that which will deprive children their basic and fundamental rights to life. Commending the president for his intervention, Dr. Owusu explains that students may be currently going through a lot of psychological trauma, and therefore the reversal of the dismissal will help. She spoke to me on News Desk.
I am sure that by now they are very disrupted. They probably have regretted their actions. And I totally agree with the presidency saying that alternative disciplinary action should be taken. Well, if children or young people go wrong, we need to discipline them. That there is no two ways about it. We must register our displeasure at their actions and let them know. But disciplinary actions should not deprive them of a good and a bright future. When we carry out disciplinary actions, the eventual aim is to make these people better than they were before. And so any disciplinary action that would end the person up in a worse state is not the right thing, it's not appropriate. And so if we decide to take these kids out of school, what probably is going on in their head by now is that they have regretted their actions, but it has caused them irreversible consequences, which is not right. Every form of disciplinary action should have an intention of making the person a better person after the disciplinary action. And so if you met out any punishment, any sort of disciplinary action, and the end result is that the person will end up worse off, then you know that you have not chosen the appropriate one. These are young children or young people who would have missed a bright future because they have been dismissed.
Starting this month, public sector workers will be paid 30% more on their base pay for the 2023 working year. This is coming after 10 separate meetings spanning nearly 2 months. However, government urged the labor should increase their productivity to plug the holes in the country's budget. Michael Ashali has more.
In November 2022, the labor unions wrote to government requesting for 140% increase in their base pay for 2023. The unions cited mainly the increased cost of living as justification for their demand. After 2 meetings, labor was willing to bend.
Government progressed to 18. We also progressed to 65.
We've never been difficult. We've been considerate for years, and many things have gone wrong. So I think that is the time to right the wrongs. The single pay salary structure is the most indecent structure in this very country. You will never take anything below the 60%. We are not representing ourselves. We are representing our constituents. And we have to go back and inform our members who sent us to negotiate for them.
For government, it was a frustrating process.
Unfortunately, we have had to table something anytime we have met. But labor insists on a figure. So we are going back and we'll reconvene.
Tensions were brewing, with none willing to yield to the demands of the other. Both parties broke into caucuses several times to deliberate further. But after 10 meetings in 2 months, a deal was finally reached. Here is Labour Minister Ignatius Bafo-Iwa.
The base pay has been increased by 30% for the 2023 financial year. The effective date of this is 1st January 2023. And as I said, this brings to an end the 2022 COLA of 15% of base pay salary.
But Ignatius Bafo-Iwa urged the workforce to increase their productivity.
What we also require of workers is also to increase their productivity and also work to justify this reward which is also coming to them. We are going to work together to ensure that our output at the workplace also increases. And we are charging Fair Wages and Salaries Commission to lead that course of monitoring what we do at the workplace and also coming out with measures to help us to be able to increase our productivity.
Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta says agreeing to increase the base pay will take a toll on the finances of the country.
This is going to take a toll on the budget, but I'm confident that with enhanced productivity and the commitments that we both have given to each other to make sure that there is peace in this country as we look at pensions issues, labor issues, I think we've come to a satisfying conclusion.
Associate Professor of Finance at the Andrews University, Professor William Prepra, is however asking government's decision to increase the base pay by 30%. He says would require a cut in some baseline items. He explains that failure to do so will throw the 2023 budget out of gear. He spoke on Newsdesk.
The implication will be that government may be cutting some expenditure line items to make way for this, or government will be relying on central bank in the form of monetarization or giving overdraft to government to be able to pay these bills. Or the third option will be that government will be increasing the treasury bill requirement to be able to meet the salary payments. And then the fourth option will also be that government will be cutting down some capital expenditure line items. So government may have an option. If government decide not to implement a cost-cutting measure, what it means that it will throw the budget out of gear. And by the end of 2023, we'll be seeing that the wage bill will be going up. Let me also put it that because government has increased the income tax bracket to include a 35%, not all employees who will be getting exactly a 30% increase in their salary. We should be mindful of that.
Okay.
What it means is that a lot of workers will be moving into the higher tax brackets, to the 17.5, 25%, and 35% tax bracket. What it means simply means that the moment the base pay is going up, your tax payments will also be going up. The advantage is that the social security part is also going to go up. So in terms of future retirement, employees will get something better. All these have implications for government. Government probably, as I've mentioned, need a major strategy to accommodate this 30% increment. If you realize last year, total emolument was about 44 billion Ghana cedis. So if you do a cap of a 30%, it's really going to go up about 54 something billion cedis going to come in. And if you look at government projected revenue for only for 2023, about 200 and something, just we are getting about a quarter of that one going into wages, which is very, very, very significant.
Outgoing Food and Agriculture Minister Dr. Owusu is set to hit the campaign trail following the acceptance of his resignation from government by President Akufo-Addo. The two-time member of parliament for Kwadaso in the Ashanti region says he has what it takes to lead the governing NPP in its quest to break the 8th presidential. Correspondent Elton Broby joins me with more on this story, plus details we have intercepted on the proposed NPP timetable to hold a conference to elect the flag bearer. Elton, first, what did the president say in his acceptance letter?
So, Aisha, in that statement signed by Eugenia, who is Director of Communication at the Presidency, the President thanked Dr. Afi-Akoto for his service to the nation, and also the appointment in the caretaker position of the Minister for Fisheries, Howard Kumsin, to act as Minister for the Food and Agriculture until the appointment of a substantive minister.
Okay, so how is the outgoing minister reacting to this himself?
Well, he says he's happy. He had the opportunity to serve, and he served well. For now, he's focused on convincing delegates of the NPP to elect him as flag bearer for the 2024 general elections.
And we understand that he has been speaking himself, but when will he be leaving office eventually?
So, per arrangement between him and President Akufo-Addo, he is supposed to hold on to the 31st of January. So from now to the 31st of January is going to be the process where he will begin smooth handing over of the ministry to the substantive minister that will be appointed by President Akufo-Addo. So from now to 31st of January, he will still act as Minister for Food and Agriculture. but we'll be overseeing the smooth handing over of power to the new one.
So grateful to the president, first of all, for giving me the opportunity to serve him, his government, and the people of this country. And secondly, the understanding that he has exhibited to let me go and pursue my political career is something that I'll forever be grateful.
So what's next for you?
The next is to hit the road to go and talk to MPP delegates to convince them to make me their flag bearer.
Now, let's talk about the NPP, and we are learning of a proposed timetable for the party's delegates Congress to elect a flag bearer for the 2024 elections. Elton, what do we know?
Aisha, there is a proposal by the leadership of the NPP, and indeed, exclusively we can report that on the 31st of January, the three main organs of the party, that's the National Executive Committee, the Steering Committee, and the Council of Elders will meet. And their main job will be to consider the proposed timetable for the holding of internal, elections. For now, what is left is the presidential and then the parliamentary primaries. Now, we are being told that the proposal says that the party should open nominations in February and then should go ahead and hold the first Congress in May. Remember that the party constitution says that if they have more than 5 people expressing interest to contest the flag bearership position, they will have to undertake what they call a super delegates Congress. Now, we know that Alan Chairman Tem, the former trade minister, Dr. Fia Koto, the now outgoing agricultural minister, Kennedy Japan, Kwabena Japan, Boache Japan, and then a few others have expressed interest. The number, as we have it now, is more than 5, which means that the super delegates will now have to decide on 5 to go into the National Delegates Congress somewhere in November. Now, the super delegates includes the 275 constituency chairmen, regional chairman and his or her executives, also members of parliament and the council of elders of the party. They are just 1,200. They constitute the super delegates of the party. Now, they will vote in May to decide the final 5 to go for the Congress. The Congress, as we are told, the consideration date is in November. But these proposals will be the subject of a discussion on the 31st of January. If accepted, that will form the basis upon which the party will conduct itself in the election of a presidential candidate and the members of parliament for the 2024 elections.
Elton Brobe is our presidential affairs correspondent. Trust JoyNews on your election headquarters will bring you all the sounds and sights if the date is finally agreed on. The national chairman of the National Democratic Congress wants party members to let go of all rancor in the party to build a solid campaign team for the 2024 general elections. Johnson Asedu Nketia says factions within the party will disrupt the good message of the party and ruin their campaign in the 2024 general elections. He spoke to the media during a reconciliation tour in the Ashanti region.
The NDC has started its reconciliation tour in the Ashanti region to iron out issues that can drill the party's agenda to regain political power in the 2024 general elections. The team was led by National Chairman Johnson Asedu Nketia, together with some party elders, including Kofi Totobi Kwache and Colonel retired Larry Bevlolati. National Chairman Johnson Asedu Nketia says they aimed at uniting the base of the party and building peace as the party prepares for the must-win 2024 general elections.
We've sat through a series of meetings, and I'm happy to report that we have made significant progress towards the reconciliation of the party in Ashanti. At least at the level of region, the regional executives have resolved to work together. The regional executives on one side and the Council of Elders on the other side have also resolved to work together.
The delegation engaged in a dialogue with the Ashanti regional executives, members of the Ashanti Caucus, Regional Council of Elders, and other identifiable groups within Ashanti NDC. Johnson Asedu Nketia says he holds no grudges against any member, including the former chairman of the party, and wants party folks to do away with factions.
I have indicated to them and to the rest of the party that if part of the decision is traceable to the contest that I was involved in. I don't hold any grudge against anybody within the party because I'm one of the people who designed the 1992 Constitution and opted for multi-party democracy. Multi-party democracy involves choice. So you commit no offense if you make a choice and your choice happen not to have won the day. So I want to thank you, and I want to communicate through your various media to our party rank and file that nobody should hold themselves as the group belonging to Nana Kwasi, a group belonging to Jabari, a group belonging to Asiedu Nketia, or a group belonging to Ofosu Ampofo. Those are things of the past. There is work ahead of us. Let us unite and make sure that we win and win convincingly.
Malik's report read to you.
A group of coconut oil traders, cargo and bus drivers at the Nzema station in Agbogloshi here in Accra are resisting an attempt to evacuate them from a piece of land they have been occupying for the past 7 years. According to them, they have nowhere to relocate to. There's more in this report.
The traders, numbering about 150, have been plying their trade on the said piece of land located in the heart of Agbogloshi since 1986. But their occupancy is under threat as they've been served notice for evacuation to make way for redevelopment of the land for headquarters, popularly known as Kayayi. They are, however, not happy with the move. They say they have fulfilled all requirements with chiefs and the previous government, hence rightful occupants of the land. In a press conference held this morning, the vice chairman of the group, Francis Amihie, said they will do everything to resist the move.
Station. About a week ago, we were here when we received a team of policemen led by one doctor in Katia to serve us notice or to remove us from this place on this land occupied since 1980s. According to Dr. Nketia, we need to vacate the land due to the fact that the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia, is proposing to the land to construct toilet and bathroom facilities for the headquarters, popularly known as the Kayayis in Accra, who came from the northern region. We were not happy to hear this since we were not given priority notice before Dr. Nketia communicated to us just last week. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, we, the Nzema Cargo Oil Traders and Western Cargo and Buses Union of the GPRTU, has always complied with all regulations regarding our tenancy on the land. Mention to be made above the fact that there was a collaboration agreement between the late John Rory's government and some chiefs from the Greater Accra region, House of Chiefs. We boldly say that we are rightful occupants and will therefore take any action, especially legal, to prevent the Vice President to evacuate us from our land. Ladies and gentlemen of the place, if the Vice President is not aware, we would like to inform him with all due respect that about 90% of land in Agbogloshi here belongs to our brothers who comes from the northern region. He should therefore use part of their land for construction rather than evacuating us from this piece of land.
Some of the traders and drivers who spoke to JoyNews say they have nowhere to go when they are ejected from the land.
We've been here for 37 years now, and they say they want to sack us. So, why are you going to get money to take care of our children? So, you are pleading to the government. You are pleading. You don't have a place to go. You are pleading to the government.
Money information said nothing about it. But man cash and tray, man cash, masma and Kofuaba, a soldier for Kahun, police for Kahun, some just as in free and some. Mama, baby, and a Kahun, Inzima, a Hina Yanko.
A report by Prince Kwame Kuduga.
Hi, welcome to Business. My name is Darryl Kwao. Former Trade and Industry Minister Alan Kyerematen has revealed a $13 million strategic investment fund for the World Bank for the development of the Greater Kumasi Industrial City and Economic Zone project. It is in anticipation of a $150 million facility from the South Korean government for extension of the off-site industrial facilities. Mr. Kyerematen, who introduced leadership of the World Bank to the Asante in Kumasi, says the park, when completed, will be a game changer in the country's industrialization drive. Nana Aljima has more in the following report.
The Greater Kumasi Industrial Park is envisaged to be the prime manufacturing hub of the country. It sits on a 5,000-acre land at Ejoso in the Ashanti region. The facility will host different industrial parks within the city for the manufacturing of different products. Former Minister of Trade and Industry, Alan Kyerematen, explains the enclave will create job opportunities for the youth and improve the national economy.
And we know from the experience of the most advanced economies in the world that it's about creating industries. So we feel that when this project is fully executed, that it will contribute significantly to our job creation agenda in our country. So Your Royal Majesty, respectfully, will bring this to your attention, and hopefully that you take this as a personal challenge and drive this particular initiative.
With the initial investment made, the project is expected to attract private sector participation. It is believed the Africa Continental Free Trade Area will offer opportunities for participants to reach foreign markets.
Now the world is opening up. With the African Continental Free Trade Area, there are investors both within the country and outside the country who are seeing the opportunity that is offered by the AFCFTA to establish industrial enterprises in Ghana. We want this new industrial city and special economic zone to be the prime investment destination and the manufacturing hub for our country. And the plan is to have different industrial parks within the industrial city. So there's going to be an agro-industrial park which would concentrate on manufacturing of foods and beverages. There's going to be a garment village. There's going to be a pharmaceutical park and a biomedical center. There's going to be a new technology and innovation center trying to replicate what we have in the Silicon Valley. We're also going to have a mineral processing zone, an enclave. We have so much minerals that are mined in the Ashanti region.
Meanwhile, the World Bank has assured preparedness to help develop the country with focus on digitalization. Pierre Laporte is country director of the World Bank. For JoyNews, Nana Aljima, Kumasi.
Now, business strategist David Ofosu-Dorte is warning that confidence in the finance and banking sector could be hit badly in the coming months. That's if the domestic debt exchange program is not handled well by government. Mr. Dorte's fears are based on the current structure of the program and concerns being expressed by individual bondholders. He has been speaking on PM Express Business Edition.
I know very close friends and relatives who, based on collective investment scheme, mark to market alone, they've lost about 20% plus what was their principals at the time this happened. And it's affected them drastically, right? So I think the individual component is the most painful one. If I take that one aside and put that there, I think the lack of confidence in the financial sector is a very dangerous way that we are going. And it's not new. I've gone back on this in a previous presentation like this. Under the PNDC regime, if you had more than 50 CDs or something like that, you had a problem. People lost confidence in the financial sector, keeping monies at home, their mattresses, etc. Then, finally, after some 20 years or so, people get confidence. And then I make reference to the 2014, I think 2014 February, it was Valentine's Day, where we had some circular from Bank of Ghana where you basically could not hold dollar anymore, and a lot of people lost money. I lost money. We lost confidence. Then, just when we were about to regain it, the financial sector, a lot of Capital Bank, UT Bank, they all vanished, and we lose confidence again. Then you have the banking financial institution, then the likes of NAM1 and all. It's been going on. Then just when we think the confidence is being restored, we have debt exchange. I have seen people who have bought safes and trying to keep money away from banks. So if we have a situation where people go after the banks, run on the banks, or another bank collapses, or people refuse to now send money to banks and stop saving, or save with other non-cash instruments like buy property, or send their money abroad by buying dollars, we will have killed confidence in the financial sector, and it will take a very long time to recover. For a country which wants to improve savings culture.
And there's more coming up on the marketplace at the top of the hour. News Today continues after this break.
Let's do sports now on Joy News Today with me, Muftau Nabila Abdullah. The African Nations Championship starts tonight. Ghana is the only country to have made it to the final twice since the tournament began in 2009, but the country has never won it before. The last time Ghana was in a tournament was in 2014, finishing second to Libya after losing out on penalty shootout. The man who was in charge of the Black Galaxies, Maxwell Konedu, says it will be important for the team to win it this time around.
This is one tournament that across the continent, the FAs value a lot. And CAF has also taken this tournament very, very serious. That is why they allow only local players to. And the cup, it means everything to our league. It means a lot to our local league. This will mean that our local league is not that bad. It will mean that we have some quality players in our local league. It means that the FA is doing something good about our local. It means a lot. It means everything. That is why we have to, or we need to take this competition very, very serious. It means a lot. Last but not the least, you know what this tournament does for the local players. If I'm not mistaken, I think I can count over 100 players. And I repeat, over 100 players that have traveled outside through this competition.
I see.
Yes. Last time I was, you know, after a Chan tournament.
You were taking stock?
Yes, there were over 100.
I see.
From 2013 to over 100 players. And ask those who are following this tournament closely. They will tell you. They may have even the right figures more than me. But
now, let's hear from Maxwell Konedu's boss, because they have worked together. That's Kwesi Appiah. He decided to make Asamoah Gyan the captain of the Black Stars when the Ghana Football Association named him as the head coach of the senior national team in 2012. He's been explaining why he gave him the opportunity to lead the national team.
Actually, before then, John Mensah was the captain.
Yes.
You know, so we were then going to the 2013 AFCON. Yeah.
And in fact, Gyan had retired. He retired from the team after missing that penalty against Zambia.
Yeah.
So when you brought him out of retirement, then you made him captain of the Black Stars.
Yeah, because you see, sometimes you make someone a captain because you want him to give give something extra for the team. You know, so, and at that time, John Mensah, he just gave him a call and said, look, John, I'm moving you to general captain. And I gave the captaincy to Asamoah Gyan. Sule and Essien were not part of the team by then. Yeah. You know, because normally we look at who was being long in the team. You know. So I gave it to him, and from 2013 and up to 2019. Yes. You know, and I had issues as to why
you were taking the captaincy.
Asamoah Gyan, no, why Sule Muntari and somebody like Essien, because they've been in there longer. Yeah. But by then, I had taken the decision already, so I had to stick to it.
But would you have considered other players, say Mike Essien or Sule Muntari, if they were within the team?
If they were in that team, maybe yes.
Yes, they're speaking to us on Prime Take. The full interview on Sunday at 9 p.m. on the JoyNews channel. As you can see here, it was in that interview where he said that he would apply for the Black Stars coaching job if the Ghana Football Association opens for applications. What we've even heard is that he's been considered for the role. This is our wrap-up sports here. We appreciate your company. Up next is World News.
8 for the bulletin this afternoon. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Log on to myjoyonline.com. There's more of the news and updates of the developing stories to enjoy the rest of our program.